Hey there. So now we know how exactly do we acquire food through the environment and how exactly is that food converted into energy, the role of oxygen and the way we acquire it through the environment. Now it is very important to have a dedicated system to transport that oxygen and all those nutrients acquired in the intestine from the body or the intestine and the lungs throughout the body. Here's when blood comes in. Blood is composed of several components. Plasma, which is an important aspect of blood, contains the most of the liquid. It constitutes 60 to 70% of the blood and contains some proteins, nitrogenous wastes, and carbon dioxide also as a waste. Red blood cells. Red blood cells are the carrier of oxygen. They contain hemoglobin, a red colored pigment. The color is due to iron, of course, and hemoglobin carries oxygen with itself and carries throughout the body. White blood cells are also called soldiers of the body. They protect us from infections of viruses and bacteria. Now, whenever you face an injury, platelets come into action. They are composed of special proteins which are triggered whenever you face an injury. They collect at the injury point and make a clot, a dark brown colored clot, to block the way. It prevents overflow of blood from your body. Circulation of blood in human body is called double circulation because the blood in one whole cycle passes through the heart twice. The first process is called pulmonary circulation, where the blood passes through the lungs for oxygenization or to acquire oxygen from the lungs. The second is called systemic circulation, in which oxygen-rich blood is passed throughout the body to provide energy. Heart is a pretty muscular organ composed of powerful enough muscles called cardiac muscles. Heart is divided from between into two halves, the right half and the left half, by a very muscular tissue called septum. This is done to ensure that the carbon dioxide rich blood and the oxygen rich blood are separated from each other to prevent them from mixing. Now the right half is responsible for pulmonary circulation, the oxygenization of blood, and the left half is responsible for systemic circulation, the distribution of oxygen in the body. The carbon dioxide rich blood comes from the body and enters the right atrium of the heart through vena cava. Vena cava are also of two types, superior and inferior vena cava. Superior comes from above and inferior comes from the below. The carbon dioxide rich blood is then sent into right ventricle. The right ventricle then contracts, sending the carbon dioxide rich blood through the pulmonary artery to the lungs for oxygenization or purification. The oxygen-rich blood from the lungs comes to the left atrium of the heart through pulmonary vein. The left atrium then contracts, sending the blood to the left ventricle. The ventricle or the left ventricle then contracts, sending the blood, oxygen-rich blood, through aorta throughout the body. Now the blood is transported throughout the body via a network of tubes called blood vessels. These blood vessels are also of two types: arteries, which carry oxygenated blood, and veins, which carry deoxygenated blood. The whole point of dividing blood vessels into two types is to keep oxygenated blood and deoxygenated blood separated from each other. Now the difference between arteries and veins is as follows. Arteries carry blood away from the heart to the lungs for mixing the blood with oxygen and to the body to transport that oxygen throughout the body, and veins carry blood from the tissues and from the lungs to the heart. Arteries carry oxygenated blood while except the pulmonary artery, and veins carry deoxygenated blood except the pulmonary vein, of which we will learn later on. Arteries have thick walls to sustain high blood pressure from the heart, while since veins don't have to sustain high blood pressure, they have comparatively thin walls. Now in veins, the blood is not guided by any pressure. So to ensure that the blood flows in the right direction, valves are present. While in arteries, as told earlier, the blood is guided by pressure from the heart, so valves are absent. Arteries are deep-seated, which means they are found deep inside the body, while veins are superficial, which means they are found comparatively above the surface. When you get injured, you can easily find out if an artery is cut or if a vein is cut. If an artery would have been cut, the blood would come like a pulsating jet, just like this. And if a vein is cut, the blood will pour normally like a normal liquid. Now we know arteries are very thick walled to sustain the blood pressure coming from the heart, but it defies the process of diffusion of oxygen into several tissues and muscles. To solve this problem, arteries divide and subdivide into very thin walled capillaries. These are special blood vessels which are 1 cell thick, allowing oxygen to diffuse into tissues and muscle cells. Now these capillaries again join to form veins which carry deoxygenated blood from the body. And as always, thanks for watching. Thumbs up if you liked it, sub if you loved it. This is Sahil Singh. You're watching Why, When and How To, and I'll catch you in the next one.